Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Melissa and I'm a nursing student. So I attend Chamberlain University. If you have not seen my previous videos, you can go to my channel and check out my previous videos. I talk about the layout of classes at Chamberlain, my nursing school journey, and just kind of everything up until now. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about my most recent session at Chamberlain. I attend the Tyson's Corner campus. I do the evening and weekend program. Not every campus has the evening and weekend program. And the two classes that I just finished taking are fundamentals skills. There are two fundamentals at Chamberlain. Fundamentals skills is one course, and then fundamentals of patient care is another course. So I finished taking skills, and then the second course that I took was health assessment 2. So before I get too far into today's video, I would like to thank Javi Coffee. So this video is in partnership with Javi Coffee. They sent me some of their coffee to try, and I want to talk about it just really quickly on my channel. So Javi is actually a liquid coffee concentrate, and in one of these little concentrated bottles, there are 30 servings, so you can get 30 cups of coffee from this one little bottle. So Javi sent me this cute package with more information about their products. It came with some pamphlets and some goodies. Of course, it came with the coffee, which is in their conveniently sized bottle. But I also received 2 environmentally friendly reusable straws, and that also came with caps and a cleaner. Now I'm going to show you how I make the coffee. So I just take 1 spoonful of the coffee concentrate and I add it to whatever milk I desire. In my house, we drink oat milk, so that is what I used to make my coffee this morning. And then you stir. It's that simple. This can work as hot coffee or as iced coffee. What I love about Javi Coffee is honestly how convenient it is. So especially in the summertime, the session that I just finished was of course my summer session, and I love iced coffee, but for me to make iced coffee at home is such a hassle. I have to brew the coffee, I need to let it cool, I'm gonna have to put it in the refrigerator, leave it overnight. This is so simple. I just get a glass, fill it with ice, I'll put a teaspoon or like a tablespoon of Javi coffee, and then I will fill the rest with oat milk, which is what I drink. So what I have in my hand right now is just plain coffee. It's 100% Arabic artisan roasted coffee, but Javi does have a bunch of different flavors on their website and a bunch of really cool products on their website. So I'm gonna go ahead and link that in the description box below, and I'm also going to link a code so that you can get a discount off of your first order. Literally in less than a minute, I have iced coffee ready to go. It's not like a 24-hour process that I normally have to do. So I have really been loving this product, and thank you again to Javi for sending it to me. Okay, so now to get into the topic of today's video, which was my last session at Chamberlain. So sessions at Chamberlain are 8 weeks. So I took 2 classes over the course of 8 weeks. They were both very fast-paced. I took fundamental skills, and then I took health assessment 2. So first I'm going to get into fundamentals, and for fundamentals, I believe I got a B in fundamentals. I think I got a B- in fundamentals. And if I didn't, I will put in the description box below what I actually did get. But fundamentals was a really fun class. It was also a really stressful class. So there were 2 parts of fundamentals, of course. There was the lab portion, and then there was the lecture portion. So first I'm actually going to talk about the lab portion just because the layout is pretty straightforward. For lab, we had lab once a week, and lab was 4 hours. So for me, it was from 6 p.m. to 10:15 p.m. And we pretty consistently hit that 10:15 mark. So this isn't a class that says it's 4 hours and then you get out early, and you really do need that much time in the class. To be completely honest, at least for me, the 4 hours honestly just flew right by. We really did use up every single minute of time in the class. So the layout of this course each week was that we would come in, we would learn what skill we were going to be performing, and we would learn how to do the skill. So either my professor would demonstrate it, and we had mannequins, I would say very lively, very high-tech mannequins that we would perform these skills on. So my professor would either demonstrate it for us, or we would watch a video on how to perform the skill. And then we would spend the rest of the first half of class practicing that skill ourselves with partners and with the mannequins that we had in the classroom. And then the second half of class, we would have to perform that check off from memory in front of my professor who was grading us, which of course is very stressful. It's really difficult to learn a skill, practice it only for maybe 2 hours, and then have to recite that entire skill step by step from memory. And if you missed more than 2 steps, so you had 2 mistakes you could make while you're performing the skill for the professor, if you messed up a 3rd time, or if you have to be corrected a 3rd time, you fail that skills check off. And when you fail a skills check off, you do have the opportunity to do it again the following week. So you can make it up, but you only get 2 opportunities to fail a skills check off. And I will say nobody in my class failed, which is a good thing, but the course was still really intense. It was very difficult. In my opinion, it was really high yield. There was a lot of information, but it was really useful, and it was actually a really fun class. I really loved my professor. I got to know my cohort more because it was so intimate. There were only 12 of us in class, which was actually, there were like 11 or 12 of us in class, and that was actually considered a larger size class. So along with the skills, we also had supplementary documentation that we had to do. So they were like worksheets with scenarios that we had to do, and we had to upload to Canvas each week to be graded. And that was also pass-fail. And then the final thing that we had to do in lab was evaluations. So we had midterm evaluations. We would just kind of say where we felt like we could improve, what we felt like we were learning, and then the professor had to check us off on whether our skills were satisfactory or not. And then we had final evaluations where we did essentially the same thing. And all of that was just for the lab portion of fundamentals skills. So moving on, for fundamentals skills lecture, this was also a class that met once a week. And again, since I'm doing the evening and weekend program, I don't know if it would meet more frequently for somebody doing the daytime program. But for me, I had to go to campus. It was in person, which I didn't like, but it was in person once a week, and it was a 4-hour class. It was from 6 o'clock to 9:50. Occasionally we'd get out of class early. More often than not, we got out of class like right on time. For the most part, we really didn't ever need to stay late. This class was a pretty standard didactic class at Chamberlain. We had 3 exams. I believe exams were in weeks 3, 6, and then of course the final was in week 8. So that was a big chunk of the grade for fundamentals skills lecture, those 3 exams. And then in addition to the 3 exams, we had quizzes sprinkled in every other week that we had to take in class. And then in addition to that, we had a project that was due not the last week of class, but towards the last week. Like towards the end of the class, we had a project that we had to do, but my professor told us about it on day 1 and it was in the syllabus. And then in addition to that, we had ATIs that we had to do almost every week. We had to do ATIs pretty frequently, but the ATIs were actually really interesting, and they were more scenario based than just kind of like regular you read and answer questions. And then the second class that I took was Health Assessment 2. So in Health Assessment 1, I learned how to do a thorough head to chest assessment, and I uploaded a video doing that on my husband. You can also check that out on my channel. In this course, Health Assessment 2, we learned how to do a full head to toe assessment. So the structure of lab was that we had to come to campus once a week, and lab was only for 2 hours a week. So compared to fundamental skills, which had a 4-hour lab, I actually really enjoyed the days that I had to come to campus for health assessment lab because it was like half the time. And the layout of the class was pretty much identical to Health Assessment 1. We would come in, we would kind of learn a different area of the body to assess, and then we'd practice on a partner, and then we'd go home. And then of course with this class, every week we had supplementary material that we had to do, like worksheets that we had to do with case studies. Often we did them in class together. And then we also had midterm and final evaluations that we had to do. For health assessment lecture, we had actually a hybrid this session. So half of our classes for Health Assessment 2 lecture were in person, and half of them were virtual. And the reason was because the class was technically virtual, but we had to come to campus to take exams. And of course, exams are only like an hour and 30 minutes. And this was another, basically a 4-hour class. So after we took the exams, we had a break, and then we came back to the classroom and we just continued learning. So it ended up being like almost like an every other week coming to campus to take an exam and to learn. And then on weeks when we did not have exams, we were able to stay home and attend class virtually. The layout of this course was that we had 3 exams that we had to take, of course, and then each week we had different assignments. So none of my classes last session required EDAPT, none of them required discussion boards, but Health Assessment 2 lecture did have case studies. I believe we had 3 or 4 different case studies that we had to do. We had a final paper that we had to do, and the final paper was actually very labor intensive. I personally am very good at writing. Obviously I'm not going to tell you what the paper was about because I don't want to cross the line of maybe cheating or maybe not cheating, but I will say I'm personally really good at writing. My paper ended up being about 12 to 15 pages, and I know some of my classmates said their paper ended up being about that long as well. Other classmates said that it was nowhere near that long. So I don't believe that there was a paper limit, but I just had that much that I needed to write about. And I ended up doing really well on the final project, or the final paper. So hopefully that's a really quick run through of the courses that I just finished taking at Chamberlain and my session that I just finished. I finished my session last week. Usually I upload these videos between sessions, but things have been really crazy with school, with work, with life. So I'm actually almost a full week into, by the time I post this, I'll be a full week into my current session. Now I'm taking Fundamentals of Patient Care, and I'm also taking Pharmacology, which I'm really anxious about. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please just leave them down below. Check out Javi Coffee and check out the website. Like I said, I'm going to put my discount code down in the description box so you guys can check them out. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.